The California Honda dealers, Chris McGee, James Worthy, Derek Fisher, Allie Clifton's going to join us in a little bit. Brez and Mike Trudell are down at Staples. Lakers lose to the Bulls, dominated from start to finish. Defensively, guys, the Bulls are elite. That's why they're a top 3 defense so far this season. Swarming. They're playing fast in transition, doubling AD every chance they got. They played great. They deserved this win. Outplayed the Lakers. They were plus 27 from three-point land tonight, James.
Yeah, and I think the Lakers were, 18% from three?
Yes, their worst of the year.
And Fish talked about in pregame how critical it was for guys like Elton and Monk and the Lakers to have that shot. Unfortunately, Chicago is the type of team that will take you completely out of your game. They put in a lineup that makes you adjust to a smaller lineup, and then surprisingly, they kick your butt, in the paint. They beat the Lakers, I think, 54-40 in the paint. They moved the ball very well. Got a lot of assists, 31 assists tonight for the Bulls. The Lakers were only 18-19. So, yeah, this Chicago team, they're deadly. And so they don't let you play your game. You saw how Fish pointed out how they were double-teaming AD, not allowing him to get involved and get his easy bucket. So we saw, I'm not going to say they're upper echelon team, but they're a team they're going to be reckoned with DeRozan, Lonzo Ball playing well at the point guard. They're pretty good. Levine, we know what he can do. They're quick and they're scrappy, and they're a really good defensive team.
Jump in there, Fish.
I mean, I think James laid out a lot of great points. I mean, we were talking a little earlier. I mean, as we look at this third quarter graphic, if we break down just the third quarter point differential for the Lakers, if just that quarter was better, and hopefully we can maybe put something together that would highlight. If the Lakers were just better in the third quarter, the difference in some of these losses that they've sustained already. Not that, over the course of a long season, new guy, all of the changes they're going through, they're not going to be consistent, right, in their performance. But to come out in the third quarter night after night after night after night and not be able to find a way to just bring the focus, the intensity, the effort, the execution, that's not just, figuring out rotations. Like, there's something else that's holding the team back from being better to start the second half.
Minus 89, third quarter point differential is the worst in the league. And that's what the conversation we were having while we were watching the game. And you brought up a great point. And you're like, what if you're just middle of the pack, 16th or 17th? You're probably 3 wins better, right? I mean, it's that brutal of a stat. And you're right. When it happens once in a while, you can blow it off. You can give excuses. But when you see it a lot, Big Game James, and it has kind of been a theme for this team, they got to look into it. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a virus. If you cannot take a break, reboot, refresh yourself, coach give you a third quarter game plan, and you not be able to have the energy. Say if they have more energy at the beginning of the game than they do in the third. And we all know that the first and the third are vital, especially the third. If you have a lead, you want to enhance it. If you're need to get some buckets and grab some defense, you do that. But that's been an issue with the Lakers all year long, and something they're going to have to address. And it's not all about the coaches; it's about the players. Sometime meeting right there in that huddle before they go on the floor and saying, "Hey guys, look, this is what we have to do." Hadn't gotten there yet.
Fish, let's talk game plan for Chicago. Obviously, they like to play fast. They got the great defensive guards. They're not even without Vucevic so far as well in this game. They had a different big 3 that we will get to. But the doubling of AD and kind of forcing the Lakers to play a different way and shoot a ton of threes. And by the way, the Lakers were great from 3 just a day ago. Shot 48%. It's crazy how basketball works. Today, their worst percentage of the year with 18%.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers are a dominant team in the paint with their size. Russell Westbrook's ability to get downhill and get into the lane. And then obviously Anthony Davis has been dominant at the center position once the Lakers have gone small with Melo at the 4. So to come in tonight, the Chicago Bulls decided we're not going to allow Anthony Davis to dominate this game, in particular in the first half. So they took all of his paint ability away. Anytime he touched it below the free throw line extended, they sent a second body. And then the length and activity from their guards and wings, it allowed them to get back in rotation. And essentially with Russ or Rondo, that was the guy that out of their rotation, he would have been the one that had to take the three. And the Bulls decided they were going to live with that tonight. Yeah. And it worked out for him. AD got more aggressive in the third quarter, caught the ball basically at the nail. The Mavericks used to put Dirk Nowitzki in the middle of the floor. Harder to double team there. He made some mid-range jumpers, but never really dominated the paint the way the Lakers needed him to in order to get some easier opportunities.
Yeah, he had a weird exit to the game as well. He was trying to put on his shoe, and the ref allowed the other team to continue to play. He yelled at the ref, and the ref, he knew he already had one T because he threw him out, as Billy said, emphatically, like he wanted to. It was a strange moment, right?
Yes, definitely. It seemed quick for the situation.
Yeah.
Anthony doesn't.
The ref was feeling himself right there. He's very excited.
AD doesn't have that type of reputation. He's only been ejected one other time, I think, in his career. The team is getting beat badly.
Yeah.
Unless he's just completely undressing the referee in a really egregious way, I don't know if you just give him a second technical and throw him out of the game, especially because the play is going the other way.
Yeah.
So just let AD chirp and just run down the court, leave him down there with his shoe off.
Ridiculous.
But to throw him out of the game, from our vantage point, it didn't seem necessary.
The big three for the Chicago Bulls. Did you want to comment on that or no? You're good.
Nobody comes to see the referees.
The minute I start talking about it, I know you don't want to. Lonzo, DeRozan, and Levine combined for 91 points. 15 threes between the three of them. Lonzo Ball had himself a day, season high 27, 7 of 10 from three, and I'm sure that felt good in the city where he was raised and the team that drafted him. We will start with DeMar DeRozan, though. How about the season he's having for the Chicago Bulls? 38 points on 15 of 23, 2 of 5 from three. And James, it's the fourth game this month he's had more than 35. This month.
Not surprised. He's a groomed veteran player that that knows his game. Can't be defended. Hard to double team because he has the mid-range game under control all the time and can put the ball on the floor and finish in traffic with contact. So he did it everywhere he's played, and so I'm not surprised at all that he's getting the numbers that he's getting with Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I think, DeRozan showed, without LeBron on the floor. Yeah, I think we talked tonight about Trevor Ariza not, having been in action yet. Like, the Lakers just didn't have anybody other than I thought Bazemore came into the game for a couple minutes and created some problems with his activity and length, but it was too late at that point. I thought DeMar DeRozan, right from the tip, he just felt comfortable, and he felt like he could get anywhere on the floor, and really efficient in the way he got his points tonight.
How impressed were you with Lonzo tonight on both sides of the ball?
I love Lonzo Ball. I mean, I thought when he came to the Lakers, it was a lot of hype, a lot of pressure on the kid. He had a lot of growing to do. He has grown through that maturation process and landed in Chicago. We all knew he needed to shoot the ball better. He is really comfortable shooting the basketball. Remember, he's a hell of a defender, too. Talking about that length Fish was talking about. They swarm. They get in the gaps. They're a tough team, and led by Lonzo. He's under control, really cool, calm, and collective right now in his career. And so I like the way he's arrived, shooting that three. And, I see him during timeouts. He's talking to DeRozan. He's going around communicating with guys, talking to the coach. He's becoming a floor general. I think his future is really bright.
And, I mean, me, I got to give some love to the coach at some point. Mm-hmm. Billy Donovan, there was a point when he was in Oklahoma City where people were starting to whisper about how much longer he was going to have that particular job.
Yeah.
And then when Billy Donovan and Thunder decided to mutually part ways, I don't think anybody assumed what was next for Billy Donovan. There were some rumors that he was maybe thinking about going back to the college game. Mm-hmm. He gets the Chicago job, and we're still not sure. Well, the roster isn't really a championship roster. Maybe they can make some moves. he now has a group of guys.
Yep.
If you think about the way he played the game himself, scrappy, tough,
Yep.
hard-nosed, get after people, he has a roster full of guys that like to play that way. And if they're healthy and playing with the confidence that they showed tonight, it's a really interesting team to defeat in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You have to beat this team 4 times.
When you bring Vucevic into the fold, and now you add that threat as well, and a legit big, and a guy that can score inside and out, they top 4 team in the East, in your opinion?
The way they look tonight, yes.
Yeah.
I think a little more depth in the front court
Gotcha.
would probably be needed to get out of the East. Like, you know, you need big bodies to face Giannis, to face Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You're going to have to guard Joel Embiid, you know, Bam Adebayo. Like, there's some guys with a little bit of size in the East. And maybe
4 good teams right there.
I'm
you just
forgetting
named.
somebody, Julius Randle and the Knicks. Like, they don't have enough maybe strength up front. But tonight they showed they can make up with their activity and speed any strength that they're lacking.
Yeah.
These guys are flying around the court.
Fun to watch, too.
And yes, really fun to watch.
All right, THT led the Lakers with 28 points. You speak with Mike in the media.
Taylor, first of all, so back-to-back for you, and of course you hadn't played